If you think your apartment is small, wait until you see how people in Hong Kong live. I'm talking spaces so tiny you can touch every wall without taking a single step. Yet somehow these folks are saving thousands every year. And the wild part is, many of them actually prefer it. Today I'm breaking down exactly how Hong Kong locals turn ultra-small, living into a money-saving superpower. Let's get into it. Hong Kong is one of the few places on Earth where tiny apartments are not a quirky lifestyle choice, but a full-on survival strategy. Nano flats, which usually fall under 20 to 28 square meters, exploded in popularity because the city's land prices reached levels that barely seem real. I have talked to locals who grew up watching rent climb year after year until the idea of a normal apartment felt like a luxury only the wealthy could touch. So developers pivoted. Instead of building big units that fewer people could afford, they sliced them down into micro-sized homes that opened the door for young workers, students, and even newly married couples who just needed a foothold in the city. What makes nano flats interesting is how intentional they are. These aren't random cramped rooms like you might picture. They're efficiently engineered so every centimeter serves a purpose. A bed that folds into the wall becomes your dining space. A desk slides out from under a cabinet. Storage hides under the floorboards. It is like living in a real-life Swiss Army knife. Hong Kong developers learned that people are willing to trade space for convenience. And convenience in this city means being close to work, close to transit, and close to opportunity. When you factor in how much time Hong Kong locals spend outside the house, at work, with friends, in cafes, or at late-night food stalls, the square footage of home becomes less important than the location. And that location factor is where the saving begins. Instead of commuting for an hour or paying premium rent for a two-bedroom far from the action, nano flat residents choose smaller spaces right in the heart of the city. They save on transport, they save on time, and they save on lifestyle friction. There is also a surprising mindset shift that happens when you move into a tiny space. You stop buying things you do not need simply because there is nowhere to put them. Furniture shopping disappears. Spontaneous shopping disappears. Even kitchen gear gets scaled down because you are not planning giant meals or hosting big groups. That naturally funnels money back into savings. Nano flats became a symbol of modern Hong Kong living. They tell a story of a dense city adapting to economic pressure while also embracing a leaner, more minimal way of life. Most people do not dream of living small, but when the trade-off is saving thousands per year, cutting commute time in half, and living in the middle of one of the world's most energetic cities, a lot of locals decide the compromise is worth it. The rise of nano flats shows how Hong Kong turned a housing crisis into a new lifestyle blueprint, one where being clever with space leads to serious financial advantages. Hong Kong locals are masters of squeezing every drop of value out of tiny spaces, and honestly, some of their tricks are genius level. When you walk into a micro apartment in the city, you quickly realize that it works because nothing is random. Every item, surface, and layout choice is carefully planned for maximum efficiency. One of the most popular tactics is vertical stacking. Instead of spreading things across the floor, people build upward. Loft beds with desks underneath, tall shelving that goes almost to the ceiling, and cabinets mounted above doorways. This approach frees up precious floor space and makes the apartment feel twice as large as it actually is. It also means you buy less furniture, which instantly saves money. Another huge hack is multi-purpose everything. Hong Kong residents love pieces that do double duty. A coffee table lifts into a work desk. A sofa turns into a bed. A kitchen counter becomes a dining space. When one item serves multiple roles, you avoid spending on multiple pieces, which is a hidden cost saver most people overlook. Even the kitchen gets the minimalist treatment. Instead of buying bulky appliances, locals stick to essentials: a simple induction cooker, a compact fridge, and a few efficient storage racks. Because the space is small, it naturally discourages buying unnecessary kitchen gadgets or overeating through constant takeout, which surprisingly cuts monthly food costs. Decluttering also plays a major financial role. In Hong Kong micro-living, clutter is your enemy. If you bring home something you do not truly need, you will feel it instantly because it physically gets in your way. This makes people incredibly intentional with purchases. Locals choose things based on longevity and usability, not impulse. They prioritize quality over quantity because there is no room for extras that break quickly. That mindset alone can shave hundreds off monthly spending. Shared spaces are another underrated hack. Instead of buying a washer and dryer, many buildings have shared laundry rooms. Instead of owning fitness equipment, residents use public gyms or the outdoor exercise stations found all over the city. These communal options eliminate the need for large household items and high maintenance costs. Even entertainment is cheaper. With parks, cafes, and shopping districts just minutes away, people naturally spend more time outside their tiny homes, which reduces electricity usage and unnecessary indoor spending. When you combine all these habits, vertical storage, multi-purpose furniture, decluttering, shared facilities, and minimalist kitchens, you get a lifestyle that is not only space efficient, but surprisingly cost efficient. Living small forces creativity, and that creativity quietly stacks up into big savings. Hong Kong locals are proof that the right space hacks can turn even the tiniest apartment into a powerful money-saving tool. In Hong Kong, the old real estate saying, "Location is everything," is not just advice, it is survival. People here constantly choose a smaller apartment in a prime location over a bigger place on the outskirts, and the financial logic behind that choice is stronger than most outsiders realize. The city is dense, fast-paced, and built vertically, which means the closer you are to work, transit, and daily necessities, the more money you save without even trying. Long commutes in Hong Kong can drain both your wallet and your energy. Between train fares, bus transfers, and the simple time cost of traveling, living far away quickly becomes expensive. By choosing a tiny flat in a central location, locals often save hundreds each month simply by cutting transportation costs and avoiding long-distance travel. There is also the time factor, which people underestimate until they live here. Time in Hong Kong moves fast, and being close to your job or school gives you hours back each day. Those extra hours can be used for side gigs, exercise, rest, or simply avoiding burnout. When you live in the city center, almost everything is walkable or a short train ride away. Groceries, gyms, cafes, convenience stores, parks, and even nightlife are all within reach. That kind of daily convenience reduces friction and improves your quality of life more than extra floor space ever could. Another major cost-saving perk is that city center living reduces the need for private transportation. Cars in Hong Kong are incredibly expensive due to taxes, parking fees, and maintenance. Most people in central neighborhoods simply do not need a car at all. Without a car payment, insurance bill, or fuel expenses, the savings stack up fast. And when public transport is so efficient and reliable, owning a car feels almost unnecessary. Even social life gets cheaper. When your friends live nearby and your favorite spots are right outside, you are not spending money on long trips or big night outs to escape the suburbs. Instead, life becomes simpler and more spontaneous. You meet friends for a quick meal downstairs, grab groceries without a car, and enjoy free public spaces that Hong Kong is full of. So for locals, the equation is clear. A small apartment in a prime location equals lower transportation costs, more free time, fewer lifestyle expenses, and more day-to-day convenience. In a city as intense as Hong Kong, location beats square footage every time, because the savings are built right into your daily routine. Living in a small space naturally changes your spending habits, and in Hong Kong, this shift can save people a surprising amount of money each month. One of the biggest ways tiny living affects your wallet is by limiting what you can physically bring into your home. When your apartment is 20 to 30 square meters, you stop buying things out of impulse because there is literally nowhere to put them. Extra clothes, gadgets, random decor, and unnecessary furniture quickly become clutter, so locals learn to buy intentionally. This mindset alone cuts a ton of wasteful spending. Utility bills also shrink when you live small. A tiny space requires less electricity to cool in the summer and less energy overall to maintain. There are fewer lights, fewer appliances, and less square footage to manage. Even cleaning supplies become cheaper because you simply use less. When your home is compact, everything becomes more streamlined. Food spending also changes. With limited kitchen space, most people avoid stocking up on big grocery hauls they might not use. Instead, they shop more frequently and buy exactly what they need. This reduces food waste and keeps the grocery budget under control. And while people do eat out, it is often at affordable local spots rather than expensive restaurants, because Hong Kong has endless casual food options that are quick, cheap, and tasty. Small living also encourages a more active lifestyle outside the home. When your apartment is cozy but compact, you naturally spend more time outdoors, walking in parks, meeting friends in cafes, or simply exploring neighborhoods. This reduces the temptation to buy entertainment items like large TVs, gaming systems, or home decor. Plus, Hong Kong has tons of free or low-cost public amenities, so the city itself becomes your living room. Another underrated factor is maintenance. When you live in a large apartment, every upgrade, repair, and cleaning task costs more. But in a micro apartment, maintenance is simple and cheap. There are fewer surfaces to fix, fewer items to replace, and fewer things that can break. Tiny living may start as a financial necessity in Hong Kong, but the habits it creates, minimalism, intentional spending, lower utilities, smaller grocery trips, and less home entertainment, add up fast. Over time, people discover they are saving money without even trying, all thanks to the natural discipline that comes from living in a perfectly sized space for city life. One of the biggest secrets behind Hong Kong's tiny living lifestyle is the mental shift that happens once people embrace small spaces instead of fighting against them. At first, most newcomers feel overwhelmed by the size. A 20 square meter apartment can feel shocking, especially if you grew up in a place where space was more normal. But over time, something interesting happens. People stop thinking of their apartment as a full-time, all-purpose living area and start seeing it as a personal base camp, a place to recharge, sleep, store essentials, and launch into the outside world. Once that mindset kicks in, the stress of limited space fades, and life begins to feel lighter and more intentional. The first part of this mental shift is letting go of the idea that bigger means better. Hong Kong locals learn early that space does not define quality of life. What matters more is efficiency, convenience, and freedom. When you live small, you automatically declutter your routine. Decisions become simpler because you have fewer things pulling your attention. You know where everything is. You clean your space in minutes, not hours. This sparks a subtle sense of control and calm that people do not expect when they first move into a tiny flat. Another part of the shift is valuing experiences over possessions. When space is limited, you naturally stop buying items just to buy them. Instead, you put more money toward things that actually make life meaningful, like meeting friends, trying new foods, or exploring the city. Hong Kong is full of energy, and once people adjust, they realize their small home is not a limitation, but a motivator to engage more with the world around them. The city becomes an extension of your living space. Parks, cafes, waterfronts, hiking trails, and even shopping centers become places to unwind. There's also a mental lightness that comes from minimalism. With fewer belongings, your brain feels less cluttered. You avoid the guilt of unused purchases and the pressure to keep accumulating things. Many residents say they feel more free, not less after downsizing. Finally, tiny living teaches appreciation. When every item in your home has a purpose, you value it more. When you choose quality over quantity, your surroundings feel curated rather than cramped. That shift from "I do not have enough space" to "I have exactly what I need" is what makes micro-living sustainable. At the end of the day, Hong Kong shows us that living small is not about sacrifice. It is about choosing what actually matters. When you strip away the extra space, the extra stuff, and the extra costs, you end up with a lifestyle that is lighter, cheaper, and surprisingly freeing. If anything, tiny living proves that you can build a big life even in the smallest apartment. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.